One more time for Kyle Larson. Big slider on Tanner Thorson. Through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. And it is Young Money getting it done. Night 1 of Midget Week. Steven Schnapf breaks it through 3 and 4 for the final time and will get it done here tonight at Tri State.
This is Rip the Fence.
Call me Big Daddy.
Presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Time for yeah, you damn right I got time out there.
Also brought to you by Hercules Tires.
So welcome to episode 96 of Rip the Fence. We've welcomed in a first-time winner in the USAC National Sprint Car Series. How does that feel, man?
Dude, sounds good. Unreal, man. Man, just crazy. It's still, I haven't had a chance for it to soak in, honestly. Right to work Monday morning and just been, it's crazy. My phone's been blowing up. I'm getting messages from people I've never talked to in my life congratulating me, and it's overwhelming, honestly.
Where do you work? What's your day job?
I'm a pipe fitter here at Local 136, and I work for All Stop Plumbing currently down here in Evansville, Indiana. So,
wow.
It's, I don't know, it's just wild, man. It's unreal. I went to work Friday, working, and we get the race car ready, and then we're racing Sunday night, which I was pumped just to go racing. Everybody's ready to go racing right now anyways. And then, I come back to work Monday and everybody's hooting and hollering and they're pumped up. And so it's a pretty neat deal.
Wow.
Well, and that's something that if people have never maybe been to Hopstadt, they may not understand that the local guys down there, I mean, you and Donnie and Kyle Cummins, like the fans there are passionate about you guys beating up on, the USAC guys when the USAC guys come into town. So anytime one of you guys can win, I'm sure it's a big deal probably to people down there, especially when you win a USAC race.
Oh yeah, it's I don't know what it is about that track. I know we got a lot of laps there. I got a lot of laps there in the mod, and Donnie's been racing there for years. Kyle's been around there for years, and then I think he ran the Pro 4 there even years before that. So it's just hard to beat guys when they have a lot of laps on any kind of track. And there's other guys in Indiana that are super strong on their local home track, not just you go to Putnamville or Bloomington or Brownstown, and there's local guys that are stellar at those tracks. And I'm just fortunate that I was able to put one together on a night that USAC was in town, and just awesome.
Yeah. How long have you – so before we keep going, our listening audience, we're talking to Steven Schnapf. He's the winner for the USAC National Sprint Car Series at Hopstadt. He's been close before. How many USAC tries did you make before you actually got this one?
I'd say we're around – I bet you I've entered 12, 15 races now, I think, with USAC. So we probably put – that first year we even got the sprint car. We didn't get the sprint car out till June. And I think we won our third night out here at a local track in Chandler. It's kind of in the backyard here. And I think we only ran maybe 10 or 12 races the first year. We clicked off around 15 or so the second year. And then last year we were right around 30 races. I think we hit most of the MSCS stuff. I think we had someone come up and missed one or two or maybe just one. And so, we're finally getting up there where we've got 50, 60 races with a sprint car. It's just taking some time, work full time. And, I have a career, honestly. And, you try to get in as many races as you can and, try not to get fired, trying to take off work. But, I'm fortunate, very fortunate. My company does a great job and allows me to do what I love to do anyways. And those guys respect it. And I think they enjoy it as well, seeing what we're doing. So it's
you kind of mentioned that you ran modifieds. What went into your decision to want to run sprint cars?
I started running the mod up there at UNOH when I went to school up there. And, I was I missed a national event there at Eldora. We were close. Things happened. Ended up on my head, and I got done there. And, I got one season at it, and I had a couple of shots to win a couple of races, but I just wasn't able to pull through. So when I moved home from college, I had a micro that my family, we raced together. And I just told Dad, I wanted to get in the modified to get going there. I just wanted to prove that I could win in it. Got through that, won some races, won some good regional races, had a couple of shots at some big national races. And then I just kind of started getting bored with the modified thing. I grew up in Indiana. I always wanted to race sprint cars. I've run the micros. I raced with a lot of these guys in micros and mini sprints years ago. And, there was things I wanted to complete with the modified. And I felt like I'd already kind of done what I wanted to do. And I was ready to kind of move on and get in the sprint car.
There's a lot of those guys around Indiana and Illinois that have made the move from modifieds to sprint cars, and they're actually some pretty good drivers. It seems like the modified does, well with moving to a sprint car. I don't know why, if it's just because the modified's hard to drive, or if it's because there's, everything's just moving a little bit quicker with the sprint car. I'm not sure, but Lincoln Park Speedway, you might have to help me out, Dylan. I think Bradley Starrett didn't he race? Yeah, modifieds. There's guys all over the place. Like, why is that?
They are difficult to drive. I'm not saying the sprint cars are easy. They both have their own challenges, and definitely getting used to the speed and the movement and the way you set your moves up in the sprint car is totally different than the mod. But I think there's just a throttle control is definitely there with the mod. You can't just, grip and rip the throttle and just, motor by people. There's a lot of momentum involved. So I think, one thing with the mod you learn big time is just momentum, and you can't get the car overbent and, just suck back up on somebody like you can in a sprint car sometimes, So, I think it's just a momentum thing more than anything. Just being smooth. I think that's a big part of it. And the nice thing is, too, like the mods are so big at a lot of these tracks, especially the Hopstadt and Bloomington for sure. When you go to a sprint car, you got a little more room than what you're used to. So some of these guys that may come out of a mini sprint, or guys that are coming straight out of mini sprints and whatnot, into a full-size sprint car, now they feel cramped. So the track feels small to them. We're really coming from a mod. Now I feel like I got way more room now to move around. So I think that kind of helps out a little bit too.
That's an interesting perspective. I've never really thought about that. For people maybe that aren't familiar with you and your story, just kind of explain, how you got started in racing and, when you got started in racing and kind of how you got to this point. Let's see. I started racing go-karts when I was 9. I had an uncle that was into go-karts at the time. My grandpa kind of dabbled around in the go-karts with him a little bit, and he was to a point, I think he just had his first daughter, and he was ready to sit back and take care of his kid. And I'd always been around the racing with him, just hanging out, enjoying it. And my parents decided to go ahead and get his go-kart operation, basically. My grandmother and my parents went together and got that, and we just, it was really one of those deals that I remember my parents telling me, hey, we'll go race once or twice a month, just go have some fun with it, because they knew I enjoyed it. And then, like a lot of people, it just escalates after you get 2 or 3 years into it. Next thing you know, you're 4 years into this and you're racing twice every weekend if it's close enough. And then now you're trying to hit national events, you're racing with big names. And so we did that. We did the go-karts for 6 years, and I was ready to move up, do something different. And we kind of started talking around with some people, and a lot of people were like, man, you need to go race in asphalt. You need to get on asphalt. And we didn't really have the budget to go race asphalt late models or anything like that. So the closest thing we could find what we could do and still kind of travel kind of a national series was I think it was the MMRA Mini Cups years ago. So if you're familiar with them, it's a little 13-horse half-scale stock car. We did that for a year, and we won the Indiana State Championship. I think we were right there in the top 10 of the nation, but it just wasn't my thing, man. I
right then and there, I realized, man, I really enjoyed dirt racing. So Dad and I took a year off to sell that car. And during that season, this was a big change in my life. We were trying to sell that car, so I couldn't really go racing. I had some buddies that allowed me to take their go-kart and go racing that season just to kind of stay busy. But I met a guy. His name's Matt Humphrey. Some of you guys have seen him around some of the racetracks in Indiana. And showed up at a kart track just to watch that night. And it got rained out. And I'd never met him before. He said, hey, I'm going up to Linton. I'm going to go watch the mini sprints. You want to go check it out? I'm like, sure, never seen him before. Let's go check it out. I get up there. It was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. These things are flying, dude. And I think they had uprights back then. I think they were only 600s. But watching the wing sidewinders just getting it up there in Linton, Indiana was unreal. And he actually had a mini sprint at the time. And so in between me racing go-karts off and on just to stay sharp, I'd travel around with him. He's just kind of teaching me, let me work on the shop with him. And, he needed an extra hand too. So it was cool. It was something for me to get into and learn. So he raced the uprights. I traveled around with him that year. Wintertime come around, me and Dad started looking at the tracks. And the uprights at that point hadn't taken off. So we, you had Marion, Illinois, you had Wayne County, Clarksville, and Linton as well. That was kind of within 2 hours for us. So I actually made the switch, and me and Dad went and bought a micro and got a sidewinder. And so we got that sidewinder. I'm trying to think. We went to Clarksville for one practice, and then we raced my second night in it. And then our third night out with that winged micro, we ended up winning down there with I think it was like 27 cars. And so this was back in I would say 06, maybe 05, 06. And I remember, we were just learning. We were new with this, man. We didn't have a tack. We didn't have any gauges in the car. It was just the car just ran, and that's all that mattered. And we got done. It was an old ERC micro. I think they only made 3. And we got done. We won that race. I mean, there's guys, you've seen the micro guys. They'll show up. They'll roll out their midgets. They'll roll out their micros. It was just a micro race. And me and Dad rolled out this little bitty go-kart track. We sat in the chair, and I watched guys on both sides of us make changes all night long. And we ended up winning that race. And it was actually the weekend before that 2000. They always have a 2000 to win race early at Clarksville with micros. So we won that weekend before, and we went down the next weekend. And I think we were on 5th or 6th in the big money race. But that's kind of where we got going with the micro. And I stuck around with that until right before I went to college. So I ran that 2 or 3 years before I went to college. And had some good luck. We run non-wing over there at Marion. And we had, I've been fortunate. The area I've grown up racing in, Princeton, our go-kart track was extremely competitive. If you could race here in Princeton, Indiana, go-kart, you go anywhere in the country and win. And then, you get into the micro stuff here. I raced at SIR a lot with Trenton Beckinger, Joby Miller. So we always had great competition over there. And, I think having those kind of people to race with and learn and trying to chase and trying to beat each other has given me a chance over the years to keep getting better with my skills to eventually be to where we could win up here with USAC.
Yeah.
But so I was actually a junior. I think it would have been, I would have been a sophomore in high school or junior. I can't remember. We had morning homeroom readings, and I had a teacher. She'd get mad at me just about every day because I wouldn't read anything first 20 minutes. The only thing I'd do is look at a racing magazine or something else. So it just had to be a morning that I didn't have to run it late. I didn't have anything with me. And she's like, you got to go to your locker. You got to go get something. And I didn't want to walk all the way across the school to my locker to get something to just look at for half hour or whatever it was. So I knew my buddy's locker, and there was you didn't have to use the combo to get in his locker. I was like, well, I know how to break into his locker, so I'll just jump in it. And I reached in and I grabbed a magazine out of it. I started looking at it. Well, it ended up being a UNOH magazine. I guess UNOH had been there to our school, and they kind of talked to some of the students and handed out magazines. Well, he had one in his locker that I broke into. And so I went back to morning reading period, started reading it up. And, they had a race team. And the high performance program and all that stuff. And I was like, this is what I want to go do. And so we went up there, I want to say around it was probably halfway through my junior year. We went up there, and I was hooked, man. As soon as you see, if you ever get a chance to swing by there and just check out their facility, it's unreal. And it's 100 times better what it was when I was there. And so that's how I kind of got into UNOH. And, I never, I would have never dreamed that I'd get a chance to go to the UNOH and race. You still had to go in, fill out kind of like an application to even get on the team. And, then you had to go through like a driver tryout to even race. So, here I am, a sophomore, junior in high school, like saying, I'm just going to go here. I'm going to go race while I'm in college, and it worked out. It worked out. I got an opportunity to be a crew chief for a car for 1 year, and then I ended up getting the race, one of the modifieds. The first year UNOH had modifieds for students to race, so it was awesome. We got to race at Lima Land every Friday. We went a few times to Eldora, Fall Nationals at Eldora, and then we go early in the spring down to Volusia in February for Speed Weeks. So, man, I got incredible experience. I got to work with, not only the instructors, they were awesome, great instructors over there, and, even the guys we got to race with. I was in college. You don't race other college students or college teams. You show up and you're racing against national champions, Mike Harrison, Jeff Leake, all your major modified guys. And you get down to Florida and you got the Dillon boys and Boyer and Rudeman and all these guys. So, for me, that was just like, this is incredible. This is awesome.
Yeah, it really was. I'm from Lima, so.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I lived there for 3 years.
I grew up in Lima Land. I was a 360 guy, though. I watched the guys and stuff. Todd Sherman, Frankie Palladino, all the
Terry Hole.
Yeah, Terry Hole. There's some badass modified drivers. Todd Sherman was a stud.
Oh, yeah.
When I was real young, watching Todd Sherman, he would win everything. It'd be at Lima Land. It'd be like Tim Allison in the 360s, Todd Sherman, and Tony Anderson. Right there.
Yep. Yeah. T-Dog. I used to try to get home from, we would race Friday night with the school. And my dad, we still had our micro here, so we'd race Friday night. We'd wash the cars after the races Friday night, and I'd actually jump in my car, drive home 6 hours, wake up in the morning, help Dad get the car ready 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. I slept for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. We start getting the race car ready, head over to Marion, beat them up a little bit over there at Marion. I turn around, drive back to school Sunday. And then you start Monday, you go back to class, work on the race cars all week, and you go racing again Friday night. But I'd get myself in a pinch or, a car breakdown or something. I'd call up Tony Anderson, and we'd run over to his shop real quick, and he'd have parts or something to help me get my car going again. And it's a good dude. There's a lot of good people up there, a lot of good racers. It was a great experience. That track the facility's awesome. And I never got to see it before the university had it, so I couldn't. You may have been around then.
Yeah.
Before the university had their hands on it, but if I was a local there, the local racers there are, truly lucky to have that facility in the way it's ran, and which, I got a great track here in my backyard too with Hopstot. So I've been fortunate to really be around some great racetracks.
Us local jokels, we're gonna have to hit the bars, I guess. Now
Yeah, well, we can do that.
I was gonna say, how long were you at UNOH? You were probably there for a little bit. All the time.
I started there in October 07, so I ended up graduating in 2010, and I could have stuck another year out, but it was another one of those things where I felt I kind of did what I wanted to do, and everybody's the same in college. Once you go for 3 or 4 years in college, you're just like, man, I'm ready to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to start life. And boy, that was the biggest mistake I ever made. But it is what it is. And I got straight out of UNOH. I went to work for AFCO. I worked there for a couple of years and learned how to build shocks and finally got to the point where I was kind of tuning shocks, and I really got myself in a lot of trouble tuning my own shocks there for a little while, but it was a great learning experience. I mean, I really got myself twisted a couple times, but, you know, it happens. It's part of it, and it's made it better in the long run for me. So, you know, and when I came back home, we saw the micro. I was running that micro, and actually it was crazy. I was working at AFCO, and I was running the micro, and my roommate in college was Skylar Neri, and he raced for the college at the same time I did. And him and his dad had put a new Lightning chassis together, and had just started racing. It ran about half the season, and he called me and said, "Hey, dude, the guy that's been running around with us, they had the cars that were built back to back." He said, "Hey, this guy's been going to the track with me every week. We're racing every weekend together at Putnamville." I think he runs second in points that year up there at Putnamville, and he said, "This car, he's got to sell it. Something come up, dude had to get rid of it." He said, "If you want to get a car, this is a good chance for you to get one." And, you know, I was kind of getting ready to get out of the micro stuff just because we'd won some good races. I've been racing for Dale Ridgway some, which I think some of you guys might be familiar with him out of Illinois. And I was just ready to do something different. I was kind of at that point, too, I was ready to get back in a mod and just kind of prove that, you know, I can drive them and, you know, I can do well with them and whatnot. And so I went up there, went to pick that car up, and the dude, I didn't have any money for him. I had $1,000. I told him I was going to bring him $1,000 just to hold it. And I get up there, and I'm like, "How much time can you give me to get the money together to buy this car?" And it was turnkey, spares, and all that stuff. And he's like, "Oh, I'll give you about 3 months." And it could have been a month or 3 months somewhere. You know, I had some time. I was like, all right, gives me a chance to get home and think about how I'm going to come up with this money to buy this dude's race car. And I get home, and it wasn't a week later. Dude was like, "Hey, man, things are happening fast. I really need that money by the end of the week." And I'm like, golly, how in the world? I just gave you what I had to hold it for me. And I ended up having a truck that I had in high school and a little car I'd bought to travel back and forth while I was racing with Dad in college. And I ended up going I went to the bank, and I told him I wanted to use it as collateral to buy this race car. And the lady's like, "All right, well, what's the VIN number on it?" I'm like, "It's a race car. It doesn't have a VIN number." She's like, "Well, what happens if you crash?" And I said, "Well, it's tore up. I got to fix it." And she's like, "Well, I don't know if we can do that." And I'm like, this is a place I was told to come if I wanted to get a loan for a race car. So it ended up working out. And so I had to pay those two vehicles off twice. And I think a lot of those guys would have known I started racing that mod. And I mean, that entire car was bought on a loan. So it was not the best decision. And I can't believe my parents were all for it. They're like, "If you want to go do it, go get your loan, go race. You know, you're not going to get this chance again." You know, I was fresh out of college. I was wild. I could do anything. And so I ran that car one season. The bank owned it, and I was making payments on it, trying to race. I pretty much just ran Hopstot, but we ended up running. I bought that car in like June or July. I picked that car up. I had that money for that dude. Got the car back home. He's like, I actually went to pick it up that night. He lives right there by Putnamville, and he's like, "Dude, just jump in it, just race it tonight." I'm like, "Oh, man, I want to go through it." And he's like, "Dude, it's a new car." I'm like, "Yeah, I got to go through it, man. I got to go all the way through it." And I did. I went all the way through it, and we got that car out for 2 nights at Hopstot in October, which I had only ran at Hopstot once in my lifetime. At that point, it was a Power Eye micro show. And so I was excited to get out there. We go out the first night, run the heat. I'm still kind of getting my legs back underneath me, and then go out for the feature. Everybody wads up going in 3 on the first lap, and that was it for the first night. I'm like, God dang, I didn't get a chance to race, and here I am, I'm making payments to the bank, like, oh no, and then I'm already tearing stuff up. So we go back out the second night, and it would have been in I guess October, so it was one of the last fall races there in Hopstot. And I told my dad, I said, well, I'm either going to win or I'm going to crash big. And he's like, you just bought the race car. And I said, I got all winter to fix it. I can work all winter. I can get it straightened up. He said, don't you dare. And I said, I'm telling you, I'm either going to win or I'm going to wad it up. And got to racing. I think we won the heat. And so this would have been my second night back at Hopstot in the mod. And we get in the feature, and I don't know, there's probably 9 laps like that left. And I'm in second, and Kissinger's in front of me. I'm like, this is it. We got to go. And, dude, I started hanging the right rear up on the cushion, and I ran him all. I got all the way to him, and then I just stepped all over it. I know the right rear's in the wall, and it rips the front end around. The right front goes up the wall. I'm still on the chip. I never lifted, just riding back down the wall. And ended up getting some flat tires, and it bent a bunch of stuff in the rear end. And I pulled in with like 2 to go. I tried to hang on to it. But, it was crazy. My buddies were dying laughing, which, we were hanging out in the shop and just having a good time, having fun to go, being happy to go racing. We showed up on an open trailer, and I pulled the car on an open trailer that I had to borrow. My dad showed up with his truck and the old go-kart trailer so we could have parts and tools and all that stuff. And my dad was so hot. He was so mad that both sail panels were curved all the way in, all the way up to the roof. Whole rear end was jacked up. And I come back in, and he's like, I cannot. He's cussing me like a dog, but I was like, I know exactly what I need to do to this car now. We're good. Like, that's the best thing I could have done. So we worked all winter, put a new body on it, got it all straightened up. And no one knew who we were because I used this dude's graphics. No one had a clue who I was. It was great. I mean, some of the local guys that grew up racing go-karts knew who we were. So we showed up next year, and it was the first night at Hopstadt. And it was actually the World Outlaw race. And I remember because I was pitted between 2 World Outlaw teams. And then here we are again. I got a borrowed open flat trailer. And then my dad's pitted next to me with his truck and our go-kart trailer. And we're rolling tools and tires out and everything. And I knew I was pitted next to Dale Blaney. And I can't remember who the other guy was on the other side of us. But so it was our 3rd night at Hopstadt. And we just checked out that night, man. That car was perfect. I made a couple changes from that last race, and we just gone. So we ended up winning. And everybody's like, who is that? What car is that? Because it had my own family number on it, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Dale Blaine's crew chief come over and said, hey, man, congrats. That's awesome. Because here we are showing up on 2 trucks and trailers just to get 1 race car to the track. And so then again, I was just like, this is great. Like, this is what I wanted to do. And it was on a loaned car. I didn't own hardly any of it. I only made like 6 payments on this dang thing.
Yeah.
So we went on. I don't think I finished. I got dumped one night. I got taken out one night. And but I don't think that year I finished out of the top 3 once that year in that mod. And I ended up, so wintertime come around, I was still at AFCO, and Mark Bush works over there at AFCO. And he was right there in the middle getting ready to start his MBR modifieds. And he called me up, and he asked me, he said, hey, would you be interested in running one of my race cars? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. I know you guys got killer cars. Never was killing it. He was beating everybody everywhere. And I was like, hell yeah, I'll race one of your cars. And I told him, I said, I can't afford one of your cars, Mark. That's the only problem. He said, well, why don't you come over, let's talk. And we got together, and I started building fabricating a lot of his components, helping him build his cars with a couple other guys over there. We worked out a deal, so I was able to get in one of his cars, and he worked out a deal with the Jones boys. I think they're out of Shoals, Indiana, and he got me hooked up with them. I started running one of his cars for them for a little bit, and while I was kind of getting my race car going, kind of building it, and dude, it was great. That car was awesome. It took a few races to kind of figure that car out because it steered so much different than anything I'd ever been in before. But once I actually made a trip back to Lima one night about halfway through the season. And since I finally got off Hopstadt, I got on another track and went to Lima and kind of had an idea what I needed to do. We didn't run great, I think 8th or 9th, but I finally realized what was wrong with the car. So we turned around, went back to Waynesfield the next night. And that was when, Westfall's killing it in the mod out there. He was winning the mod. He was winning the USAC Sprint Car, whatever it was. He was winning at Waynesfield. Well, I made a couple changes from Lima land and showed up at Waynesfield, which I lived in Lima for 3 years, but I never got to race at Waynesfield. So I was excited to race Friday at Lima and then turn around, run 20 miles down the road and hit Waynesfield. So I'd never been on Waynesfield. We get out there and the car was on point just from right out of the box from Lima, and just run off and ended up winning it. And it was cool because you see drivers walking by and they're looking over at your tires and like, how did this just happen, you know? And I'm slow rolling the bottom. You can hear everybody up top just buzzing their tires, trying to keep heat in them during the caution. And I'm just like, I got them. I just, hang the left front a little bit on the berm coming up off 4 and catch a little moisture and just stretch them every time you hit it,
That's what you do to USAC every time they come to Hopstop.
Well, don't tell anybody.
You think those guys like when you come in there?
Do what?
You think those guys like when you come in there to Hopstop?
No.
I guess they're coming into your place, right?
Yeah, I think so. I like to say that. I mean, I don't want to. Man, there's so many people that those guys are so good. And the thing is, you got to watch. They're going to hit it one night, and they're there. So you got to race them. And that I got a leg up because I've seen the dirt do a lot of weird stuff, and it's I don't know what it is. It's hard to explain. I couldn't really sit there and tell you guys like this is what the track's going to do tonight. But I got a feel there that what I can roll out on the track for engine heat. And I can already tell my guys what I'm feeling. I already know which way we need to start moving because I have enough laps there. I can get on the track and know. Now, I can't do that at Putnamville. I can't do that at Bloomington. But so that helps. It gives me a leg up before they've even gotten on the track and practiced. I'm already making changes because I already know which way, I got to get an idea of what the track's doing. So it's just a huge advantage. And, it's the same, though, when I go to these tracks at Putnamville and especially if you go to Paragon or something, these guys got so many laps there, they already know what's getting ready to happen. Yeah. But, yeah, they seem pretty nice after you win your first one. They all come over and congratulated me, but they may not be as friendly the next time. You never know. you guys know some of them more than I do. You have to talk to a couple of them, but, I'm still kind of new in the area, so. In their area, in their world. So, but
well, congratulations on the win. It was good to talk to you and good to hear about your story. I didn't realize you were a racer, a UNOH racer, baby.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's a pretty good time, man. I lived up there for 3 years, and what's crazy is everybody from all across the country goes there because they are all into racing. Next thing you know, you're hanging out with guys who want to race all the time and keep in touch with them and. So it was cool. It was fun to win that because, I got a bunch of buddies that are out there working on teams in NASCAR and NHRA, and they're all over doing their thing. And then, I'm getting messages all day Monday and stuff after winning that race, and they're all pumped up. So it was cool. It's fun.
It was. I know I was rooting for you with a beer in hand, ready to go. Thanks, man. Good to talk to you.
Yeah. No problem.
Have a good one.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, man.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, it did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTire.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Steven Schnapf, everyone. He's got a cool story.
Well, he's talking about racing at Linton. I hold the record for number of cheese fries consumed in one night of racing at Linton Speedway at 4.
Gosh,
so
crazy.
I'm quite familiar with that racetrack.
Before we, since I still only have 40 minutes on my Zoom, we got 6 minutes to wrap this up. The Open, you're not going to hear it until you actually hear the episode there, but you probably saw it on Snapchat, right, Dylan? What'd you think of it?
I saw it, yes. It sounds great.
Money. Larson is flying, dude.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. Pretty good.
I mean, let's not discredit Chad's equipment because
you look at I mean, Gio was up front, most of the night. Wyndham was right there, went from I think 12th to 4th. And obviously Kyle was really strong too. So tell people all the time, Chad's got the best stuff in the pits.
Right now he does.
Yep.
No question about that, but you also had the best driver ever in his race car last night.
No, that all helps, but
he's had both the best midget drivers ever, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. So
he's got them, fine tuned.
Impressive.
And Steven Schnapf won. Did CV over the O'Reilly hat shakes of the week? O'Reilly Auto Parts. CV is he your hat shake? I mean,
he's got to be. That was pretty wild. Passed a lot of cars.
I mean, Schnapf definitely deserves, some credit. It's been a long time since he's been waiting to get one at Hobstadt. I know that Leary and those guys. What didn't they say something on the mic last year about the locals?
Yeah, I mean, they always are. I mean, you look at Kyle Cummins. I mean, he was a local there for a long time, and he was always so close, to winning. And now he's won. He won every race there last year, pretty much, I think, except for maybe one. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Steven Schnapf, wins more. If they come back there for Sprint Week or something, I wouldn't be surprised if he won the Sprint Week race. So those guys down there are tough. And Hopstad's such a weird, kind of unique racetrack that the more laps you have there, the better you're going to be. And that's exactly what he said. So it was only a matter of time.
Elmo will.
Yep. It was only a matter of time. So.
Yep. Watch him now, Mo will. All right, pristineauction.com. You can go onto their website and get the latest and greatest man cave items. Dylan, what's your man cave looking like? Is it looking good?
It's coming along. We've got all our posters and stuff hung up in the office and stuff, so we're doing good.
You need a Pink Floyd poster in there.
All right. I'm not a big Pink Floyd fan.
Yeah. pristineauction.com, $10 free using the promo code RIP, R-I-P, RIP. You can get a free $10 on pristineauction.com. Send in your items if you want to. You can tweet us. We might retweet it if you got anything from pristineauction.com. All right, D. Welch. It was a good one. My time's running out. I can't afford to upgrade to the 40, past the 40-minute marker here.
Well, hopefully next week we're back in the studio. So fingers
crossed.
Sounds
like it. It sounds like it's happening.
Good.
We're actually going to go, get back to some good shows here. So
good.
Talk to you later, son.
All right. See you. Bye.
Peace.